Hello there. Welcome to the Word Cafe podcast. This podcast has been designed with created content that centers on the power of words. Can we really do anything without speaking? Can we really do anything without the agency of words? Yes, that is what this podcast is all about. And I am your host, Amakri Isobe, your neighborhood word trader. I believe in the power of words, for it is the unit of creation. I trade in words to profit my world. Oh yeah, we're back. Did we ever leave? Yes, I guess we did, to catch up with the day's business. And we're back to the Word Cafe, to have some, permit me to use the word cafe. Actually, English will call it coffee, but Italians will call it cafe, and I like the way that sounds. What are we to do today? I want us to look at the year 2020. A lot of us don't want to think about 2020. We want to somehow erase that part of our memory. 2020 is like, I don't want to think about it. It came like, would I say any other year? The beginning of 2020 was like any other year. Then midway, things changed. One thing marked 2020, which we'll all agree brought about changes in almost every facet of our existence. What was that? There was a massive disruption. Some of us, it felt like something new. But if you go down memory lane, or if you go down history lane, if I must say that, pick up the history books and go through, it wasn't new. It wasn't new. 2020 revealed something very, very focal and vital to our existence. Disruptions. We saw disruptions in massive scale. What we came to know as life changed for so many of us. And a lot of us couldn't deal with it. A lot of us had this pain, and we just wish 2020 never came. But actually it did. But I sat down in the quietness of 2020. Was it quiet? Yes, at the time it was. And I was just going through everything that happened in 2020. My mind, from January to February, I was just traveling from one month to the other, like that traveler on a long voyage. But in course of my traveling, I was taken back in time, so to say, to where? My chemistry class in secondary school. Why chemistry class, you would wonder? Yeah, there was this particular theory in chemistry. For those of us who remember our chemistry, we use that textbook called About You. There is this principle called the Lee-Chatelier's principle. The Lee-Chatelier's principle. It's a principle that deals on dynamic equilibrium. Yes, forgive me for going this route, but everything in life and nature, they are all intertwined. They are all together. One describes the other. One leans on the other. Yes. Now, when you look at that principle, the dynamic principle, simply put, I'm just going to give some definitions and we will go into the gist. Tartarus principle, it states, if a dynamic equilibrium is disturbed by changing the conditions, the position of equilibrium shifts to counteract the change to re-establish an equilibrium. If a chemical reaction, or when a chemical reaction is at equilibrium and it experiences a change, maybe in pressure, temperature, and concentration of products or whatever, the system readjusts itself to counteract that change. And in that journey, when I went back to my chemistry class and playing that out, simply put, disruption. Our life is all about disruption. Why? Yes, disruption. Let me give you another example. A baby stays in the mother's womb for 9 months, and after 9 months, that baby is disrupted. The baby comes into the world for another period. There is a disruption. So, our lives on earth, our living on earth, our walking on earth is defined by disruptions. Sometimes we don't even take note of those disruptions, but the truth is, they exist. They are there. So we always move towards equilibrium. We call it the comfort zone. Actually, it is in the comfort zone. No. We call it, oh, I don't want to leave my comfort zone. Something happens and disrupts that comfort zone. And there's something that brings about that balance. Our thinking. Yes, our thinking. The way we approach those issues, the way we look at those issues, the way we embrace them. As a man thinketh, so he is. So, sitting in that chemistry class, I was just imagining 2020 being that container with a lot of chemical reactions going on, and somehow there was increase in pressure, increase in temperature, increase in certain concentrations that brought about some pain, that brought about some discomfort, and the system 2020 became so agitated and was just like, I need to get to equilibrium. And in getting to equilibrium, there is a dissipation of energy, so to say. Our existence is all about disruption. No, for a while, just sit down and take stock of your life, your days, your minutes, your seconds. You will see it's all about disruption. Disruption. Look at the technology. You remember growing up, we had this technology in playing audio files in form of cassettes or whatever we call it. Those things are gone. You remember your storage devices, they are gone. You remember how we used to, go about certain activities. They are gone. They have been disrupted. Sit down and look at 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the way we were doing things. There's a lot of disruption. So how do I exist in a disruptive atmosphere? I need to change the way I think. I was listening to Les Brown. We all know him, or a good number of us know him, a renowned motivational speaker. And on the subject of disruption, he said, life is built on disruption. We must embrace flexibility, not necessarily compromising, but standing on the promise of the truth. You must quieten your spirit and listen. It is based on the renewal of your mind. You must transform. You must walk your gifts. Don't go for handout, because it will hand you down. There is no shortage of opportunities. There's a shortage of thinking. There is no shortage of opportunities. There's the shortage of thinking. That is it. Our existence is built on disruption, whether you want to believe it or not. It is. No wonder he said in his word, renewing your minds. Renewing your minds. Renewing our minds. So we need to approach our lives, our living on the premises of renewing of our minds. Yes. Things change. Things change. So should we in our thinking. No, don't get me wrong. When I mean change, is not becoming another person. Rather, it is improving on yourself, on your thinking. When we talk about change here, it's not, I was good today, so I'm going to change to be bad tomorrow. No, rather, change level of thinking, the way you approach those issues, those aspects of life. Just like Le Chatelain's principle, we all desire that dynamic equilibrium. You know, when you say something is dynamic, it means it is not static. It is in a fluid state. There is this level of flexibility. Hello, you have been too rigid. You need to be flexible. You need to be amenable. You need to be, yes, you need to be. You need to be. Our lives are built on disruptive thinking. Some of us were looking at, when are we going to go back to that pre-2020? Nah, we will not go back to pre-2020. Rather, we need to change our thinking. We need to change our perception. Now you ask yourself, how do I change my thinking? What do I do to change my thinking, my thought process? What do you feed your mind with? What do you feed your mind with? What do you expose your mind to? That is where the change begins. Oh, lovely, lovely having you with me in the Word Cafe today. And I have to run now. Don't worry. I'm going to come again with that heart sizzling cafe. See you later. Bye. Awesome time it has been with you on the World Cafe podcast today. Thank you for being there. You can catch me up on my social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all at Amakri Isoboye. Also, you can get copies of my books, A Cocktail of Words, The Color of Words, my HR notebook, and Hocus Focus on God on Amazon and Roving Heights online bookstores. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at the same address at Amakri Isoboye. I love to hear from you and how this podcast has impacted you. You can leave me a message at my email address, amakrigaribaldi@gmail.com. That is AMACHREEGARIBALDI. Yes, till I come your way again. Bye for now.